Thanks. Since we're talking about money a little bit, I just want to ask you each this question. We'll start with Ed. Have you read the most recent school board budget? And if you can talk about your experience with and or approach to budgeting, and sort of the implication being what fat might you cut?
Okay, I'm going to make this really short. No, I have not read it.
Okay. Megan? It's a beast. I haven't read it.
Yeah. No, I have read it, but I think that I spent a lot of time working on programs with schools that I do that we can streamline. And another thing is, you know, right now a lot of federal departments pay their employees if they're able to come up with cost-cutting measures within their own departments, and that's an innovation we really ought to try in MPS. You know, that if the SAGE article today in the journal talked about Burdick School and its ability to hold on to the SAGE program by increasing enrollment. And that's a really, amazing and notable effort. And each school should really, have the opportunity to sit down with their board member and discuss opportunities to innovate and to keep their programs alive.
I've not read the budget, but I do sit on the governance council at my school and have seen the budget both last year and this year that has come through our school. Very difficult cuts have been made. At our school, we learned to lose 1/3 staff. We stand to lose, temporarily anyways, our gym teacher, our literacy coach part-time, and our, gosh, my head just went blank, music teacher also. But I think it would be helpful also if the number they're given to, that determines their budget, like their student count numbers, could be a little bit more accurate, so that when we are figuring out this, we don't have to dismiss teachers now to buy them back after third Friday.
Okay, thanks. Another question that was sent to me about, and this will go to Megan first. Prefaced with some information, so I'll just go ahead and read it. So MPS has been appealing a lawsuit that was opened in 2001 about properly identifying students with disabilities in a timely manner. This is JMS versus DPI and MPS. The Department of Public Instruction, I understand, settled. MPS is in the process of appealing, and it's currently in the appeal court right now. And the question is, as a board member, what will you do to make sure that children with disabilities are receiving the services and support afforded to them under the law?
That's a really good question, considering that, close to 30% of our students have IEPs or receive some degree of special education. And, one of the things that we see coming with some of these changes in Madison, and you would say, well, what is, this new open enrollment law, or what possibly increasing the ability of students in voucher programs, does that have to do with special education? Well, it's basically that, the more students that are leaving MPS for reason or another, and the more that are left behind, particularly the private and parochial schools, aren't equipped to take on special education students. So we're left with a district that needs it. And and we have tremendous help to meet those needs. So that is,
Let me just give you a little more time to complete. Yeah, let me give you a little more time to complete that, because that's sort of the preface. You're setting the stage, and the other two candidates don't have to do that now. But the question
keeps
really,
happening to me.
I'm sorry. But I want people to hear if you have a possible solution to this daunting problem.
It is, and I mean, it's one of the things that I think that is what makes. I'm sure all of us get told all the time what a thankless job we're looking into in terms of the deep, vexing problems that face MPS and the responsibility that it is to represent so many people and kids in this setting. And I think that it's one of those things where you have to gather the community of experts on this and say, we've got this population, and what's the best way through?
Candy Jo?
I think that it's very important for us to find the problems in the children right away. Earlier the better. Then to work as a group. You need the parent, the teacher, the special ed teacher, and the social worker to come together and as a group figure out what you need to do best for that child.
Okay, thanks, Candy.
I think Megan's on the right track. We need to do something to make sure that we take care of those children. It's indicative that the voucher schools and other than the open enrollment had taken a lot of our other students away, and we're left with those students. And that's not a bad thing. We do have a lot of quality programs to take care of those students. We're going to have to find funding to make sure we continue to provide the correct education for them. I think if we improve our school system as a whole, we'll draw back some of the other school, other students, and it'll help us with the funds. I think we have to make sure that the formulas that are used for voucher schools are adjusted so that they stop penalizing MPS, so that we don't lose money that we shouldn't be losing. But it's critical that we provide a grounded education for all the students that are in our school system.
Since you brought up the funding flaw, I just want to touch briefly on that with all you. My understanding is that it's sort of out of the hands of the board in terms of, I mean, it's a legislative issue that would have to happen. Does anyone at the table have any ideas about how to close that gap?
I think we have to make our voice heard louder in Madison. I don't think we've done that in a unified way from the board or from the MPS teachers. I think it's been a great failing. Madison tends to marginalize us and make us a little island here, and we have to get out and tell them what we need to do.
Either the rest of you want to add anything to that, or this is an impromptu question.
I just think that that's important, so we need to have our voices heard.
There are a lot of, there are some folks with some really good ideas, and whether it's Tony Evers and his proposal, or the regional schools, there are a number of different proposals out there that would help to fix the funding formula. And it is a matter of the political will. And we're going to go, to Madison and the state budget with a lot of issues in terms of the problems that there are in Milwaukee, and trying to keep basically the safety of our families and education. We're just going to have to be really organized and get our point of view across.
Okay, thanks for that. This one we start with Candy. This is another question from the audience, and I haven't verified its accuracy, but it says, WEAC just announced that they back breaking up MPS into smaller districts. The MTEA, the Milwaukee Teachers and Education Association, I believe, says this won't help and advocates smaller class sizes. Your thoughts? So let's start with Candy.
My thoughts. I guess I would have to get more information on how they plan on dividing the district. Are they taking the districts now and making them smaller? Are they going to will each district have their own board? I mean, there's so many questions that I have in regards to that. What was the second part? I'm sorry.
That the MTEA disagrees, basically, and says it won't help and advocates instead small class sizes.
Smaller class sizes are a big thing. I mean, it's proven that the smaller the class size, the more hands-on that you can be with your children, the better the education that they're going to get. It goes right back to even high schools, Ronald Reagan and Bayview, and the amount of students there, the amount of students at Bayview, the amount of students that, at Ronald Reagan, their SAT scores are hitting that 21 point, where at Bayview, they're only hitting the 14. So, I mean, that all has to do with sizes.
When I saw the headline this afternoon, I was rather, particularly when I saw the source of the idea, where I normally would have expected to see it. Obviously, I want to see the details they have for the whole plan before I make a real decision. But my gut feeling is it's a distraction. If we were to do that, it's going to take 2, 3, 5 years to implement. It's money we don't have to spend. As Kenny Jo mentioned, does that mean now we have 4 or 5 central offices and 4 or 5 superintendents? That's, again, money that could be directed to fix the current MPS system. So my gut says no, but until I actually read the whole proposal, I can't say it's a good or bad idea at this point.
And I understand that MPS has flaws, and I understand that we have some hard work to do, but there are a lot of districts with 80,000 students in this country. And so we need to look at models of districts of those sizes that are functioning well. We need to take their best practices. We need to work on those. We don't need to create 4 bureaucracies, and there's no efficiencies of scale there. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, those are clear answers. This one starts with Ed. I want to ask, Do you believe or do you feel that the traditional educational model that's originally, based on the agricultural calendar, does it still hold in the urban 21st century when we're being not only year-round versus school year, but when we've got smartphones and iPads and things where literacy actually means something differently too, because technological literacy is such an important part of people's careers or their lives. So is it time for a radical restructuring of how we educate young people along the lines I suggested in terms of technology and that sort of thing?
I'm a technologist. I'm a computer programmer. In most business now, computers are endemic. So yes, technology needs to be more of a focus. But along with basic math and science, I mean, those things still have to be understood in order for technology. It's not learning how to use a Wii or an Xbox and all of a sudden I'm a technology expert and I'm going to have a career. Well, some guys can do that. I grew up in an agrarian community where we took a week off to fill silo in the fall. But yes, that's not the major focus anymore. If changing the school year to accommodate students, accommodate lifestyles is important. Extending the school year, shortening the day, making the day longer. There's no reason those shouldn't be looked at and considered. If we see other school systems being successful with those kind of programs, if it's something that's adaptable to MPS, it should be on the table and discussed. We shouldn't dismiss anything out of hand just because it's unusual or doesn't sound right to us.
Okay, thanks.
One of the things that I love about living in a city is diversity, and I think that a variety of options to meet kids, where they are, and sort of dealing with their multiple intelligences, and presenting them with different educational opportunities is a really great thing. So I definitely think that there is a place for year-round schools, that there is a place for schools that work on an alternative calendar or that meet in unusual locations. I was in high school, I was in a school within a school, a small school community within my high school. I had a cousin that in New York City attended City As, which was a city as school where they did internships. And of course we had the New School for Community Service, where they have a program like that. They have a program like that at Pulaski High School. So I just think that, that in a big district we have an opportunity to do a lot of different things and meet kids where they are, which is really exciting.
Okay, thanks, Kenji.
I think that we do need to differ how we are educating the children. We have to offer them definitely more technology, science, electronics. The STEM program that G is trying to establish in the schools, I think that would really take MPS to the next level. I think, like Ed was saying, the basics though have to come first. The reading, the math, the science, they still need to be there.
If I can just ask a quick follow-up, over and above the curriculum that you're talking about, math, science, not abandoning that, but the way it's delivered, do you feel that the classroom with 20 kids or one teacher and 20 kids, we do have just have quick responses around?
I know we're electronics and the smart boards, the computer labs, all those types of things. I think you have to change time in order to keep the kids educated with the way that time is changing.
Okay.
There was an article recently that talked about doing away with traditional desks in the classroom, and a couple years ago there was other articles about allowing some students to stand up because they couldn't sit still, literally. I'm not sure that's something you do system-wide. I think it's something that you maybe do in certain classrooms, teachers that are comfortable with that. I wouldn't overlook experimenting with other ways of teaching kids in schools, but I wouldn't at this point say that we need to make radical swing and reform things.
Thank you.
Well, we already do it pretty well in our Montessori schools. So, I think that there's a lot of room to teach differently, and those are some of our highest performing schools.
Question